Have those Marvel blues while Black Widow's theatrical release date is consistently delayed? Well, turn that frown upside down because yet another MCU podcast is here to guide you through the MCU one movie at a time.
That's right, Mike. Each episode we break down one movie from the MCU and talk about its connections with the source material, comic books.
Which means I get to learn so many fascinating things like about Alpha Flight,
The Canadian Avengers.
Who Knew, and Moon Knight.
A multiple personality superhero.
Seriously? And then there's Man-Thing.
Yeah, not really sure how to explain that one.
Pretty sure no one can. Yet another MCU podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Dave.
And join us every Thursday for a new episode of Two Player Bros, a podcast about two guys who play way too many video games. Join me and Dave as we talk about the latest in Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and VR news, previews, and reviews. We have it all, and we play it all.
And join us every other week for Post Game, where we play through and dive deep into our favorite modern classics and new releases.
That's Two Player Bros, available every Thursday wherever you get your podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Boom!
I guess I like sports movies!
Yeah, like real creepy like. Did you notice him with his pants down?
Oh, with his pants down?
Yeah.
I just noticed somebody was there.
Yeah. No, his pants are down.
He's taking a dump?
And I'm thinking to myself, I want to do the secret cabal stuff. I don't want to just go and drink.
You still got to wear a cloak and stuff.
No. I want the real cabal stuff. Like I want the stuff where we're controlling the world.
I want the signet ring.
You know what? Screw that.
Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular film was released at the same time, or the movie simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. You never know. You might find your own forgotten gem. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Field, take it away.
Why is that? Why are you doing that so fast?
I don't know.
What was going on there? Like Micro Machines. Remember those commercials?
Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, forgot by audiences. They're amazing.
Oh, you should do it like that. All right. I was going to start off with the synopsis, but you know what? Screw that. We are doing King Arthur from 2004, the war/adventure film. In this interpretation of the classic tale, Arthur is a cavalry officer in the Roman army defending Hadrian's Wall against rebellious Britons. Is it Britons or Britons?
You can still say Britons, yeah.
He and his troops are expecting to be relieved, but are instead sent on a risky mission to rescue the Roman family of Marius Honorius. Honorius? That's a stupid name. Who proves a despicable torturer of pagans. Arthur frees one of them, Guinevere, who in turn brokers a truce between Arthur and the Britons so as to ward off an invading Saxon army. That is not good because the Britons that's not what they're called in this. They're actually called the Woads.
Right, because Arthur is also a Briton.
Right, but the Woads
are the Britons on the other side of the wall.
Right, but the Woads is the name that these people that they made up in the movie because they're actually the Picts, Picts. All right, so King Arthur came out on Wednesday, July 7th, 2004, has a runtime of 126 minutes. That's if you watch it theatrically. Mike and I, because we're special, watched the director's cut, which was 141 minutes. The unrated. Director's cut, but it's the unrated. So the theatrical cut was rated PG-13. I believe the director's cut is unrated, but it's probably an R because there's more blood.
Yeah. I mean, R was what they were originally filming it to be.
Right. A production budget of $120 million. Had an opening weekend of $15 million. Oof. Domestic 51 and worldwide $203 million. So it did obviously $150 million across the pond, as they say.
I don't think it's a good idea to release a movie so close to the 4th of July that's not about, hey, let's celebrate England right after the War of Independence.
Yeah, well, the entire movie takes place overcast and rainy and disgusting.
Isn't that England?
Yes, I get you. But I agree. This is not a summer film. The production company of 4 of them, Touchstone Pictures, Jerry Bruckheimer Films. It's really a Jerry Bruckheimer movie. World 2000 Entertainment and Green Hills Productions, distributed by Buena Vista Pictures. So on the 7th of July, which is a Wednesday, you had nothing else released. But on the 9th, which is the following Friday, you had Anchorman, the first Anchorman, which was a big hit, and Sleepover. The Wednesday after that, so the 14th, you had The Door on the Floor. That is the Jeff Bridges movie. And then the 16th, which is the following Friday, you had iRobot, the Will Smith movie, which is pretty good. A Cinderella Story, and Maria Full of Grace in a limited run.
You like iRobot?
I don't mind iRobot. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people think.
Interesting.
I enjoy some of the action.
Okay.
Yeah. Was that bad? You think you thought I would hate it?
I thought you react. No, I didn't think you'd hate it. It's not a terrible movie.
It's not bad.
I just your reaction was more positive.
It's got good action. I like iRobot more than I like. What is the one where he's the vampires?
Oh, I Am Legend.
Yes, I like iRobot better than that.
I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah,
of
I know that the I Am Legend has like a director's cut where they explain certain things, which I kind of like. Well, in the I don't know why we're getting off the topic.
The ending is better. Yeah.
Well, in the I Am Legend, you get the idea. In the director's cut, you figure out that they're afraid of him because he's killing off their kind.
Right.
Like he is their vampire almost. Which I thought was interesting, which is an interesting take. But anyways, back to King Arthur. So as I said, it came out the 7th. You had the week prior on the 2nd. In a limited run, you had The Clearing, Before Sunset, and The Lovely. So it's the exception of Anchorman, which was the huge movie.
Was it huge? I thought it was like a cult hit, like a sleeper hit.
Anchorman?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was very popular. I don't know. You're looking it up as we talk.
I'm going to look up the opening weekend. Yeah.
You have a computer in front of you. Why are you going on your phone?
I didn't want to.
Oh, okay. All right.
I thought you can hear the.
I could be wrong. I just always thought it was busy. This is directed by Antoine Fuqua. Mike and I were talking about Antoine Fuqua before we started. He started off on The Replacement Killers. He's also done a ton of videos, and he was Jerry Bruckheimer's. Well, Jerry Bruckheimer was his mentor, you think, or he was grooming him for.
He was grooming him for a position of directing.
He noticed the talent. He also directed Training Day and Olympus Has Fallen. One of the Has Fallen ones that Mike and I like, which is the first one's
great. Yeah,
well, that's what I said. Written by David Franzoni, who won an Oscar for his writing for Gladiator, and he also wrote Amistad. He wrote Amistad. He was one of the writers on Gladiator. No, you know what? Strike that. I don't know what I'm saying. This has an uncredited rewrite by John Lee Hancock as well. Cinematography by this is gonna be bad. Slawomir Idziak. Apologize.
Yeah, they said his name once on the documentary I watched, and it was like Slawomir.
Slawomir? Okay.
They did not say his last name.
Idziak. He was nominated for an Oscar for cinematography for Black Hawk Down. He also did Proof of Life, and the Three Colors trilogy of Blue. That's Red, White, and Blue. If you have not seen those are pretty good.
I have not seen those.
Those are French films by Krzysztof Krzyzewski. I think I said that wrong. These are in the early 90s, and he passed away maybe like a few years after they came out, but there was 3 separate movies, Red, White, and Blue, where they each represent the colors of the French flag, like liberty and stuff like that. And so they their own separate movies. Now they call them 3 colors, red, 3 colors, blue. But back then it was just blue.
Red, white. Yeah.
Composed by Hans Zimmer. We've talked about Hans Zimmer before. He's done Days of Thunder, Dunkirk, and he won an Oscar for The Lion King. Produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. So Bruckheimer does pretty much every giant action film that you probably that Michael Bay has done. That definitely Michael Bay has done. Anything you've seen, he's done. I'm gonna give you his first two producing credits: The Culpeper Cattle Company and Rafferty and the Gold Dust Twins. So look those up, big time. Edited by Conrad Buff IV. He won an Oscar for his editing in Titanic. He was also nominated for Terminator 2, Judgment Day. He did Spaceballs and Mystery Men, which is an episode we did on season 5. And then also edited by Jamie Pearson, who has done the movie MI5 and Dream Horse. You have these numbers while you're staring at me, like you got these Anchorman numbers.
I do have these Anchorman numbers.
For it. Go.
All right. It's a $26 million budget, made 28 opening weekend. So it was a pretty big hit.
In your face. All right. So
then why did it take them like 80 years to do the sequel?
Because you got to
wait for DVD sales.
Well, look at all those people together. They had to get all those people together.
Yeah, but I had heard they were also waiting for the DVD sales to be good. But it made 80 something total.
I don't know.
That's good for a comedy. Oh, whatever.
You ready? You done now?
No, I'm not gonna. We're not just the Anchorman.
It's not a forgotten film, so we're never gonna do Anchorman. Clive Owen as Arthur. He is nominated for an Oscar for the movie Closer. Excuse me. He's also in Croupier, Gosford Park, and Children of Men, to name a few. How do you say this name? Ioan Gruffudd?
Ioan Gruffudd.
Ioan Gruffudd plays Lancelot. He was in Fantastic Four, obviously. W, Ava, and Horrible Bosses. Mads Mikkelsen as Tristan. He's from the TV show Hannibal, Valhalla Rising, the movie, which is really good, and Mike's favorite, Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Joel Edgerton as Gawain. Good job. I'm glad you're here. He was in Warrior, Zero Dark 30, and he's the director of the movie The Gift, that's starring Jason Bateman. Hugh Dancy as Galahad, and he is also at a Hannibal connection here. He's also on the TV show Hannibal. For those who don't know, I love the TV show Hannibal. Mike likes it. I like it. This is my hot take that Mads Mikkelsen's Hannibal is the best Hannibal ever to be performed on screen.
Hands down.
Not
even close.
The best. The best. After you watch his and then you go back and watch Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins is hamming it up. Big time.
It's tough to watch network television now. Like
Yeah.
when I watch it and I'm like Hannibal, it's like streaming shows kind of come close to that quality, but the quality on Hannibal
It's fantastic.
is amazing. All around.
Fantastic. You should be all watching Hannibal. Anyways, Hugh Dancy's also in Confessions of a Shopaholic and more recently Late Night. Ray Winstone as Bors. He was in Sexy Beast, The Departed, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and he's in the upcoming Black Widow. Is he the bad guy in Black Widow? I'm going to guess he's the bad guy.
He's got some Russian name.
Ray Stevenson as Dagonet. Dagonet? Where are you on that?
I'm on Dagonet.
Okay. He's from the TV show Rome. He's in The Book of Eli and The Other Guys, another Will Ferrell film. Keira Knightley as Guinevere. She was nominated for 2 Oscars for Pride and Prejudice and The Imitation Game. She's also in Atonement. Stephen Delane as Merlin. He's in the Game of Thrones TV show. He plays Stannis Baratheon. Yep. Yeah, I was getting there. And
Can't even recognize. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap.
I couldn't figure out who he
Couldn't
was. 'Cause he's
recognize him at
dirty
all.
and
Yeah.
painted and whatever. Yeah. He's also in Spy Game and Darkest Hour. Stellan Skarsgård as Surdik. You don't really know his name. He's just known as the Saxon.
Right.
He is in Good Will Hunting. He's also in the TV show Chernobyl, another great film, and Hunt for October. You arrogant ass, you killed us. Sorry, never mind. That's from Hunt for October. Till Schweiger as Sinric, which I don't think you heard his name either.
His father yells his name.
Does
I
he?
believe, at some
Okay.
point.
He is he Colonel Schlitz in Inglourious Bastards? Yep. He's also in Atomic Blonde and The Red Baron. All right. Who was going to direct this movie before Fuqua? Do you remember?
That I don't remember.
Michael Bay.
I'm glad.
So
you
this
didn't.
was going to be a Michael Bay film, but he left because of budget concerns. Now, Butler, last time I think I told you I had seen this, or maybe off air I had seen this a long time ago, but I didn't remember a lot of it.
Right. That's what it is. What you told me.
Yes. And I still, when I was watching it, I was like, I don't remember any of this.
Well, originally you told me you didn't see it, but then you told me you had watched.
I'm going to guess I haven't right now. I for some reason, because I thought I did,
Okay.
but I'm going to guess I haven't seen it.
Well, then, whether you liked it or not, I'm really happy when I put a movie on the list that you haven't seen because you've seen so many. You're prolific in your movie watching, so that makes me happy.
It makes me happy too. All right. So I know what you're going to ask me. Did I like it?
What did you think about the movie?
Okay. So there is stuff in like the action stuff I really enjoy. I think that there are certain moments in the movie that it slows down and it kind of brings the storytelling to a halt that kind of bugged me. But I know it needed to be there in terms of developing the characters. I just didn't, it wasn't big on it.
Okay.
I like the action. The other thing that bothered me, and it really shouldn't bother me, but it does bother me looking back and watching the film, is that it's not accurate. Like it's a different telling. It's a retelling of like he's a Roman now.
And that bothers you?
It does bother me because just because King Arthur, and I don't know it as much as you probably do, but
Mhm.
just because the King Arthur legend is so prevalent and we always know about it, and it's in, you know, you've seen all the movies about it, and then they take it this way, and it's just, I don't know, it just really kind of tweaks me a little bit, and it kind of makes me look on this unfavorably. But I put that to the side because I want to judge it on the movie in and of itself. So I do like the action quite a bit. My stuff, my problem is the Guinevere stuff, is when I think it slows down. What do you think? You don't know she's Guinevere till the end. You all get the idea because she's the only female in this movie.
Plus, all the advertisements were like Guinevere,
right,
and
but they
show her firing
never
an
say
arrow.
her name in the
No.
movie until the end when she gets married to
Yeah,
Arthur.
because she's just a filthy woad. Who cares?
Well, which makes me laugh because they find this dungeon and they go down there and it's like this, you know, disgusting dungeon, and they got gross people down there. Everyone's dead, and they just find her, and miraculously, she's the most good-looking prisoner I've ever seen down there.
Whoa, they're all rotted. You don't know if they were good looking or not beforehand.
and apparently, all it takes is an unnecessary sponge bath to revive her. Because she has this sponge bath scene and like a full view of everybody, and people are walking by. Oh yeah, thank you. And then like the next time you see her, she's in a large robe and she's walking the woods and she looks perfectly healthy. And it's just, what happened? What was this? Like, can I get the sponge bath? Well, go ahead. Give me some of your initial thoughts. Returning to, have you not seen this since 2004?
So I watched this in theaters. I'm almost positive. And then I bought the DVD. And then I was like, holy crap, this is not the movie I quite remember.
Right.
Because it's got so much added stuff. And then I'd watched the DVD for years. I did a 5-page paper on King Arthur based on this movie and the historical stuff versus the mythology in high school. And then I did a 20-page paper that I had to talk to in my speech class, public speaking class.
Okay.
So I did a 20-page paper on comparisons between history and fact for King Arthur. So I had watched it a bunch of times up to, I think, freshman year of college.
Okay.
And I haven't really watched it since then because after I did that, oh no, I did watch it again when I wrote a screenplay based on, it was like an Indiana Jones, King Arthur type adventure movie. So junior year of college was probably the last time 10 years.
Okay. And
I do agree that it slows down, but I also agree that you need that.
I get you.
And I do kind of like that the character development is a little further in, but not quite at the end. But I like that you get the sense of the characters within the action instead of within just the beginning, and the beginning being too slow. The dialogue is what kind of gets me in this.
Okay.
Now, the dialogue, now that I'm watching it again now, having watched way more movies and taken all these classes in film, just listening to the dialogue feels stilted in quite a bit of the parts, mostly in the Clive Owen or the Arthur Guinevere conversations.
Like it feels movie dialogue.
It does. And the
Right.
Lancelot King Arthur friendship is, I don't like it at all, which I didn't really bother me before, but now it's just like I don't get that they're close, that they're friends.
When they're in the stables, when he finds out that they have one more mission to do, and he tells them, "Hey, you're not free, whatever. You're not. Well, there's Samaritans or Samaritans. You're not free. We got to go do this." And then Lancelot approaches him in the stables and kind of challenges him a little bit. I thought they were gonna kiss. There was a moment where they got close, and then I almost was like, "Do it." I think because in the original script, one of my notes here is, and you probably saw this already, is the original script, the love triangle between Arthur, Guinevere, and Lancelot was there. But Fuqua, in his research, the director, discovered that the love triangle was non-existent, so they took it out. And I think that's what we're seeing is the remnant of, well, then now what is Lancelot then? Like, what is Lancelot's connection then?
That's the
Yeah.
You get that a lot, and I thought that actually, even when I watched this back in high school, was they don't really develop that love triangle enough, and Lancelot doesn't have a lot to do.
Lancelot doesn't have a lot to do, and with the exception of Bors and Dagonet, who have I would assume they're brothers. They're their friends. They're
on the
close.
horse together when they get taken away.
I think they're brothers.
So
I think they're They have a connection together, so you do have some of their character arc in terms of when one gets hurt. Just he's overly protective and whatnot. But Tristan and Galahad, they're just kind of, and I can't remember the other character's name.
Gawain.
They're just kind of there.
Well, I think it's interesting that Bors and Dagonet, who are lesser known knights of the Round Table, get more screen time than knights like Gawain and Tristan and Galahad, because especially Gawain and Galahad have so many stories, at least in Le Morte Arthur, like the big story about Arthur. They have so many stories where they go off on their own. There's a movie coming out called The Green Knight that's about one of them. Who knows when the hell that's coming out now?
I think that's coming on PVOD.
Oh, is it?
I think.
But they don't get as much screen time as Bors and Dagonet, which maybe it's because we can do whatever we really want with these guys because they're lesser known. And Gawain and Galahad are like, well, they're, especially, I really believe Galahad is so honorable, like almost to the point of like, it's like a flaw, like Arthur, that it's like that would be double the same character. So instead they make Hugh Dancy's Galahad kind of a whiny crybaby who wears shorts for some reason.
Yeah. Isn't Galahad supposed to be Lancelot's son? Is that what I read? Is that not true?
His son or his cousin. He's related to Lancelot for sure. I don't believe he's his son.
So just kind of guide me here in terms of the original legend. Like, I understand that, a kid really didn't pull a sword from a stone. I get that.
Right.
But try to guide me where...
Which is not Excalibur, by the sword of the stone is a different sword.
Whatever. Anyways, I don't care. What I'm trying to say is the stuff that's of legend, we're ignoring in this movie.
Well,
right?
we make allusions to.
Is this stuff has already supposed to have happened, or it's going to happen, or is
the Legend of Arthur hasn't happened yet? This story
Okay.
takes place hundreds of years before the Legend of King Arthur takes hold.
before the Knights of the Round Table,
Before
they actually have
before the
here.
mythological story. Yeah. So
Right.
they're saying that there really was a guy named something Arturius. Something. I don't have the note in front of me.
That sounds accurate.
But his name was Arturius, and he was a Roman cavalry officer who was stationed at Hadrian's Wall. Apparently, he was very honorable, had a lot of medals, and everybody believes that that was what the myth of King Arthur was like, because that was the first good dude
From Rome.
and from this is before really all the families kind of started to take over bits and pieces of what's now England.
Right.
So then the legend spawns from that, and the characters come from there. I mean, Lancelot was probably someone else. of a very different name,
Mm-hmm.
and was also a good knight. And some of these knights were just good people, or based on good knights or good people that ended up getting collected within Arthur's legend as it grew and grew and grew. Even the most popular one, the Morte d'Arthur, which I referenced before, that story is not even the first Arthur story, and that tale is expanded upon by hundreds and hundreds of pages from the original works of Arthur, from the stories and songs up to now. So,
Mhm.
I mean, basically, they just go, "Hey, there was Arthur who's on Hadrian's Wall. This is what was happening back then, and let's pepper in bits and pieces of who the other knights might have been back then."
Okay.
So the everything else is based on historical fact, but maybe not actual people.
Okay. Well, then we'll move on from that because I don't want to, consistently compare this to like what really happened or what it's about because that's
Right.
unfair to the movie.
But I do think I think Tristan has, although he doesn't have a lot to do story wise, I think he's a very developed character, which might be Mads. I know that from watching the documentary, I guess Antoine Fuqua was very much like, "Hey guys, create your knight. I want your knight to be very different." And I think they succeed in terms of the action and their fighting personality, maybe, but not so much their characters. But I think Mads does a great job making Tristan very different, very much there to die. Like he wants to die, but he wants to die well. He has the falcon.
When he hops off his horse to fight, he sits there and waits for it to come to him.
Exactly.
Right,
Like he wants to die, but he wants to die artfully. He wants a great competitor, which is
Right.
why he finally gets to get killed by
Cedric. Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, okay, which I love that fight, and I love the way the style of his fighting, and I think he's one of the most interesting of the knights without having anything to do really.
Well, that might be also because they put all this stuff in there. They might not have put all that stuff in there from Hugh Dancy doing Galahad or Joel Edgerton doing Gawain. Did I say it right?
Gawain, yeah.
Gawain. So there's that to be said. Like they might have put all that on screen, but he might not have chose to keep it on there. It probably didn't fit or something.
Maybe,
like that.
yeah. I mean, the most you
agree.
get about Galahad is he really wants to go home, and he's
Yeah.
also seems like the youngest of the crew.
Yeah, they didn't really. Yeah, agreed. It just a lot of times it felt like this is the crew who's gonna die. You know what I mean? It felt like a lot of times when Arthur was talking to them, even though I know that he was always saying, I'm with you, you're my brothers.
Right.
It always felt he was talking down to them. Like he always was not just in terms of his tone. It never felt like me and you talking now is a conversation.
Right.
But like if I was talking like I'm talking over you, like I'm just spouting and we're not conversing.
Yeah, you get him in a bad time. So you get him at this time when his knights aren't really too fond of him. You get him at this time when he's learned that his Pelagius
Yeah.
is no longer teaching because he was excommunicated and executed for his teachings on free will.
And they kept showing that kid that tells him that, the son of the Roman Honorius or whatever his name is. They show him constantly, where I thought like at some point this kid was going to do something that was, I don't know, a little bit more forceful to the story. Instead, he just drops the knowledge that, oh no, he's dead. See you later.
Well,
Like,
then King Arthur
yeah.
sends him off to kind of show what you've learned. And I didn't write this down, and I can't find my old history report, but I'm pretty sure that kid becomes somebody
Okay.
later on, or is based on someone that actually expounded the ideas of free will over slavery.
Well, I love the fact that when his father gets, bowed, that his mother and him don't really seem to care. They're like, good.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a dick.
Oh no, absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. He was, no, absolutely.
But
So
I do agree with you with Arthur talking over people as well, though. He does, throughout the entire movie, Clive Owen does imbue him with this air of superiority
Right.
over everybody. Like, because he's a good person and because he believes in free will, he kind of lords it over people.
Right.
Not maybe in a purposeful way. Like, I don't think he means it, but he does think he's better than everybody. I mean, kind of because he is. But
well, he's got
he
that air
definitely
of Roman superiority that that is always prevalent. in
right.
Roman
And he's
officers.
always thought of going to Rome and being something important and being celebrated. And,
right. And so, but with this story, obviously that is, his mentor, I guess his mentor is killed, is murdered, somebody that he doesn't is dead. So basically at the end of the movie, he turns his back on the Roman Empire and he basically is going to become part of England. And they call him the King Arthur and he's going to run England, whatever.
Right.
But he never really has that moment where he says that in the movie, where he's just saying like, I've got to fight the Saxons. I can't leave them to kill all these people. But he never says that these are my people, that this is my country, that I may not be from here, but I will protect it like I am from here because this is where my heart is. Like he never says anything like that.
I feel like because we get Guinevere and Merlin say it 80 times that we don't really need him to say it.
Yeah.
You just kind of get it. And then he kind of has stumbled into the leadership role because they don't have one. And just by leading the army, it's like, well, that guy.
Yeah.
Because even Merlin, who's supposed to be the leader, goes, they need a strong leader. And it's
not like me.
Damn.
And again, I know that Guinevere needs to be in the story, but when she shows up, it disrupts the flow of the story, of the storytelling. Her whole character just disrupts everything.
I'm okay with her joining the Woads or the Picts and...
Well, she's clearly one of them.
Right.
Right.
But I don't think the love... I've never thought I said with the love triangle, the love story between Arthur and Guinevere is just so tacked on and so sudden and so unnecessary. They can have these conversations about free will and what's right and wrong and whether he's a Briton or a Roman, but you don't need that undercut of that romance with it because I feel like that undercuts the lesson that he's supposed to learn. And if this was clearly supposed to lead to sequels, I would imagine the way they end it.
I know, but they're married. Not to cut you off, but they're not married when they get married at the end of the movie, which is a different ending, and we'll get to that.
Right.
It's not because I don't get the sense it's because they love each other. I mean, they might care for each other
because they have to.
They're getting married to connect the Woads or the Picts with whatever.
Which, if you watch Game of Thrones field, you'll know that happens all the time.
No, I get it.
But yeah, no, absolutely. It's not earned, and it didn't need to be earned. And you don't need to see them get married. I mean, if you know the story, you know it's going to happen. So I'm okay with them leaving it open at that point. He's just become the king.
Yeah. Well,
and also he's 40 and she's 18.
Is that the difference in age?
No, I'm sorry. He's 39 and she's 17.
That's in the
when
movie?
they filmed it.
Oh,
No.
when they filmed it. Oh.
But I mean, even in real life, that's probably how it would have worked.
Oof.
Well, actually, 40 would have been like...
She was 17 in this movie?
She's 17 when they filmed it, yeah. But on screen, she's got the air of a woman.
Keira Knightley.
That's an absolute...
she's. I'm not taking anything away from her acting chops. It's great, but come on, man. Come on, Bruckheimer. That's not. I didn't even know that. Woo! No. That is not. Come on. This is why you get a bad rap, people. All right. In terms of the story, there's another thing that, and I want to ask you if you felt this way. I feel like they got to the end of the second act and they were like, now what? Like, because you knew the Saxon army was coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know the Saxon army was obviously going to be the third act. Is going to be the big battle.
Oh, yeah.
But I felt like there was like 15 to 20 minutes where they got to a point and I almost felt like one of the characters was going to turn to break the fourth wall and be like, we'll just wait for the Saxons to get here now. So, because we kind of wrapped this up a little early. Now, I guess we'll have some talking scenes. Like, did you get that sense?
I got that the Saxons get there real quick. I would have liked more. I mean, we're already watching a long movie with the extended cut.
Yeah.
I would have liked more than what we just got with the Knights. You get Boars kind of throwing Dagonet's freedom papers down on the ground.
Which is a
like
great
he's
scene.
already free. And he's great. Way Winstone is also great as Boars. He infused a lot of over-the-top personality to him.
Well, that scene where Dagonet gets killed is a good scene when they're on the ice. That's a nice scene.
Oh, yeah.
That has a line in it that I really like when Lancelot turns to Guinevere and he's like, there's a large number of lonely men out there. And she goes, don't worry, I won't let them rape you.
Which is different because in the PG-13 version, she goes, I won't let them hurt you.
Oh, that's a great line. Don't let them rape you is a better line.
Yeah. I like, you can't kill them. They're out of range. Yeah. Then all three of them hit everybody.
Yeah, that's good too.
But no, the ice scene is really great. But I really felt like you needed more where, I know you get Boars crying and drinking at Dagonet's grave, but just how the other knights are dealing with, they're going to leave this land that they've grown up on, that they've defended. And you don't really get enough of that, I feel. Like, I know they keep saying it, but they're not showing it.
No, I agree. Show, don't tell. I got you.
Give me a 5-minute scene of them discussing, we're going home, but isn't this our home? Isn't this what we fought? Isn't this what... Look at all those seats at that round table. 30 of their brothers have died for, and they're just going to leave it to the Saxons. Like, I would have liked a scene where they're a little more hesitant to leave. That Boar's children are born on this. Like, we're born in Britain.
Yeah.
They're Britons. His quote unquote wife, he hasn't married. She's a Briton. It's like, that's
says I love you.
Yeah. Who says I want it?
So what is it? Some Martian? Some
Martian.
was that a
yeah,
real
I believe.
place?
I guess so. I don't really know much about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Russia. It's
Oh, is that really? Oh,
it's what is now
okay,
Russia. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
That's why they've
interesting.
got very Eastern kind of Genghis Khan. Like Tristan's very Genghis Khan.
Right. Nice. Okay. I mean that's good. I like that. Couple of things in terms of just I guess facts. Hadrian's Wall is a replica that is 1 kilometer long and 40 feet high and took 300 crew members to build. Fuqua wanted something that was more tangible that they could walk on, and he didn't want to use CGI, which well done, because no, absolutely not.
Right. He wanted something he could put his cameras on. He could film over.
Yes, absolutely. Now,
that scene where they open the door.
well, here's the thing with the door that they when the horse and they have the thing and it opens up. Yeah, but then at the end of the movie, that door opens up like it's on an electric timer. Like there's nobody there, and it's just like, like what
the door
happened?
that was so heavy before,
Yeah.
and it's closed when that guy runs through it after the battle. It closes on him,
Yeah,
and then in the next shot, it shows the Saxons talking. The door is wide open. There's no doors,
Yeah.
and then again it's closed, and then again during the battle, it's completely.
there's
open.
some inconsistencies with the door at Hadrian's Wall, but the wall itself is impressive. During the fight scenes, they used 18 cameras. They had a cameraman dressed as an extra and walking around. And I believe this cameraman is the same one that was wearing a motorcycle helmet. And sometimes, so some of the action films, you had a cameraman wearing a motorcycle helmet, and he had the crew around him with riot shields during the action scenes, because basically people were just going at it, and they were shooting everything. So they have the huge fight scenes. They have 18 cameras. They got cameras mounted on shields, mounted on swords, mounted on horses. And I could just imagine, like, okay, action, kill each other, go. And like it was just that.
Well, because they had so many extras. I know the costume designer said they had over 2,000 costumes designed for the film. So most of it had to be that final battle, and that they had all the extras had to come early for like weeks and start doing military drills, military training, learning how to sword fight, because they were just going to be kind of unsupervised fighting each other. So they had ranks, they had divisions, they had all that, and they basically became a small army of reenactors.
You have to do it that way almost, because it's the only way you're going to keep everyone like
safe.
Well, safe, but also just understanding where everyone's going to be organized. That's the word I'm looking for.
They taught them Saxon words as well, so that they would, when they were shouting, they'd shout actual Saxon.
I actually like Skarsgård's portrayal of Surdik, because the note I have is like he's bored killing, but it's what it does, and like that's how he plays the entire movie. It's just like, ugh, why am I here?
Yep.
And then he like is so rough on his kid. It's just great.
Well, I love his relationship with his kid, because he should be killing his kid after all these failures. Even his kid knows that. And he's always like, no, which makes his kid even like more angry. And I love when he demotes his kid, like, you should kill me, father. And he just cuts his face and then demotes him and tells the other guy, you've always been like a son to me. And the other guy kills one of his lieutenants.
I know, he stabs that dude. He's just sitting there like that guy is just chilling by the fire.
And then Skarsgård's just laughing about it.
Yeah, and like his son kills him because he got demoted, and Surdyk's like, like, damn,
they're bad people.
Yeah. Oh, they're so Saxon. I love like when you first meet the Saxons, like one of them is trying to rape a woman, and Surdyk comes in and he basically is like, don't mix up, your blood is pure, don't mix with that.
Yeah, what kind of offspring would that create?
And then she's all like, thank you, shut up, you know what's coming next.
Yeah,
He's gonna
just crawl away.
No,
kill the girl.
Yeah, I love that. I love how we're good old Catholics putting people in dungeon temples. That's great stuff.
I have that a bunch of times.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Listen, medieval times, man, they're not great. That's why they're called medieval times.
I love the dialogue between Arthur and Surdyk too at the when they raise the white flag and they talk to each other.
The only thing about that, I like that scene too.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing about that scene I like is get off the damn horse. What? I'm sorry, but get off the horse.
When they filmed that scene, Clive Owen was pissed originally because the horse kept moving and he wasn't able to do the dialogue the way he wanted to do it. And Antoine Fuqua said, no, we're not doing it again. I like that. I like the horses moving. That's real. It's not flashy or anything like that. And he's like, look at the scene. Like, he sort of tries to touch the horse and it backs away. Fuqua really liked the scene, and Clive Owen had wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
But after he watched it, he was like, all right.
I'm with Clive Owen. No, get off the horse, because we just talked about how in this movie it's very cinematic and they're staged. It's like, just get off the horse. Like,
make your big speech.
It's to me, it was distracting. It was very distracting.
It is a little distracting. I didn't hate it, but I also was like, could have done one more scene. If you want him on the horse, get the horse to stay put.
You're the actor.
I've never had to be on a
But
horse.
would you have been like, come on, man, I can't,
If the director liked it, I would have done what the director wanted in the
you
end.
bitch.
I mean, if that's, I mean, you got to imagine if he really liked that scene, he's
I
going to
got
use
you.
that shot anyway. I got no say in what shot he uses.
I got you.
I don't. Right after that, though, they kill the traitor.
But the magic bow.
Right? I hate that. I hate
yeah.
that shot.
Yeah. There's that. Yeah. I didn't understand. I mean, it's like, but why? You didn't know you knew he was in the tree.
Yeah.
I mean,
you knew about him in general.
Yeah. Did the hawk tell you? I mean, yeah. No.
It's an 8-mile shot directly into his heart in the only tree in that land.
Yeah, that was a little too much. As almost as a little too much as the sensual sponge bath that makes Guinevere revive.
With the see-through tent.
Yeah, I know. Like, I need to clean you. We'll make sure the see-through tent's open. No, of course, the guys have to see you. It's fine. I understand
Only
that.
Lancelot. And then he looks shyly away, but then he looks back and just stares.
I have
Shit,
to
I
go.
got caught.
I should go kiss Arthur. I love when he's like, rain and snow at once. It's a bad omen. I was like, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's slush. It sucks. Can't drive through that. A lot of times this movie felt like a story arc of King Arthur was he was consistently having a crisis of conscience. Like that's this whole movie feels like. This is King Arthur's giant. Who am I? Why am I here? What do I really mean? Like that's what it felt like. You think that's accurate?
No, I think that's accurate.
Okay.
I mean, I think you put it in a
I'm
kind of negative kind of way.
Well,
But
yeah, well, because it's distracting.
I like that though. I like that he's a man who with clear morality, clear right versus wrong, clear free will for his people, and he's been fighting for 15 years, watching all these people he's supposed to die in their place, kind of is what he's taught.
Right.
And they're all pretty much dead.
Which
forced on
that
an
moment
mission.
when he yells up, I not to cut you off again.
That's
That
fine.
moment when Lancelot dies, sorry guys. That moment when Lancelot dies, he should have been me. That felt bad. That felt fake.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah,
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 that's crap dialogue.
Yeah.
That's why I said I think some of the writing
Yeah.
lines are too Shakespearean, which is kind of cheesy in this point.
Right. So do you know who Fuqua wanted to play Arthur?
No.
So Fuqua wanted this actor to play Arthur, but Bruckheimer wanted Clive Owen because he thought Clive Owen was going to be cast as Bond and it would be good for the movie. So who do you think Fuqua wanted? Think about who was cast as Bond.
Oh, he wanted Daniel Craig?
Yeah. Oops.
Daniel Craig was in A Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, so he wanted
Okay.
Craig to play Arthur, but Bruckheimer wanted Owen because he was, no one's going to be the new James Bond. Uh-oh. Would you have liked that?
Oh man, I don't know.
I like Clive Owen quite a bit
So do I.
because Clive Owen is not, he's a leading man, but I feel that he is like a leading man from a different decade. Like he's that kind of leading man. Like
He's absolutely a black and white movie star kind of thing.
But
Absolutely.
he's a regular guy. He's a rough guy. He's not like a movie star. I know he is, but you know what I mean? He's not like a movie star celebrity. He is a movie star who is a good actor, and he can do big movies and he can do small movies.
right.
I don't know if you've seen a lot of Clive Owen. I have.
I've
That's
seen a
why.
bunch
Yeah,
of
no,
it, yeah.
that's why I want you to watch Croupier. But he is just, to me, he's really, really good. I don't think he's in enough. I wish he was in more stuff. But I actually think he would have been the better choice here than Daniel Craig. I think Daniel Craig's a little too refined.
Daniel Craig's definitely a little more refined. Daniel Craig's also a little rougher on the edges at times, though, too.
But I like Daniel Craig in Munich a lot. His role in Munich, I like.
He's good in Munich.
Yeah.
He's great in Defiance. I mean, he plays these kind of
Morally ambiguous.
But I don't. What I also like about Clive Owen in this character is Arthur with that red cape and his hair. He's basically British Superman almost,
Yeah.
and I think that really works for the Arthur they're portraying.
Sure.
And as Daniel Craig, I'd always have that air of enjoying the killing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd get that, which is great for Bond and makes him my favorite, which is why he's my favorite Bond.
Well,
I
he's
don't
gonna
think he'd work with Arthur.
The thing with Bond is that he is going to be, he is still going to be doing, like, he won't be just remembered as Bond because he has still got the chops to do, we just saw him in Knives Out, to do other things.
Oh, for sure.
So
yeah.
like with someone like Roger Moore will always just be Bond. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like even Connery was able to get away from Bond. Like Craig
They're
will
like
be
the
able
only two, really. Yeah.
yeah, Craig will be able to get away from Bond a lot easier. Even, well, what's his face? Who played Bond? The short. He was in
Dalton.
yeah. Timothy Dalton's kind of you've seen him in other stuff.
He's done a ton of stage stuff, but he's done guest starring roles in movies and stuff like that.
I think Craig will be able to move on beyond that because he can.
I think he already has.
Oh no,
like you
I
said with
agree
Knives Out and Defiance and
the fact that it takes like 5 years for a Bond to get made too.
Right. But no, I think Clive Owen's the right choice for this. I absolutely agree.
All right then. So let's talk about what's the change of the ending.
Okay.
For the original ending. So the ending of this movie, which is the ending in the theatrical as well, was that they get married at the end and they fire off arrows into the water, I guess. And he says, "I am King Arthur. Here's King Arthur," and Arthur's gonna go on and whatever.
They raise their swords and it's very
very
like at Stonehenge and it's very medieval.
It's very tacked on and weird, and obviously it feels that way. The original ending, there was a scene on the battlefield when Lancelot dies, and we talked about how Arthur comes over and screams to the god, and then Merlin shows up and has a little monologue and talks about, that he hasn't, because Owen's big thing is like he failed his knights, he should have been dead, not them. And Merlin says, no, it's cool. You didn't fail your knights. And then after that, there's a funeral. There's a funeral scene where Winston's character, gives a nice monologue. And there's another scene where there's something with Excalibur being removed from a stone. There's a scene with Lucan. Does that make sense to you?
There's the scene. Did you watch it? Or you just
no, I'm reading it. I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay. It's on the DVD.
Oh, watch it. Tell me what it is then.
So basically, Arthur's like, it should have been me. It was my fate. I was supposed to share your fate. And Merlin comes over and goes, "No fate is shared. No fate is shared," and tells it to each and every knight that's all bloodied and stuff, and just walks away like a crazy man.
Peace out.
Yeah. And they're just like looking at you like, what? And they burn Lancelot and Tristan's body, just like they do in the other one, the holes in the ground. And Bors comes over to Arthur and says, you were never supposed to share our fate. You did what you were supposed to do. You completed your mission, basically. And the other knights come over and agree. Even Galahad comes over and nods because he's a little bitch. And and then they kind of walk away. And then Guinevere comes over to him and says, this is your land now. You're king, basically. And they hold hands and go, we're going to unite England. We're going to push back. We're going to create a new land where my Rome can't exist, basically. And then the camera pans out and he looks toward the sky, and the sky is very lit, like an oil painting kind of a thing. And that's how it ends.
And then the British Empire was born.
Yeah. Neither ending is great.
And then Guinevere goes, "I got to go to high school because, I'm not of age yet. So
I'll go graduate." Yeah, basically, I have written down, all right, now it's time for the Crusades.
Seriously.
It's time for all men to be free.
We're going to stop.
Let's go attack Muslims.
We're going to stop these people that have forced their own religion on us and have enslaved us and told us that they're gods. And we're going to do the very same thing. Let's go.
Woo!
Let's roll. What do you mean? Oh, shut up. It's right. This is what we're doing. Yeah, Fuqua didn't like that. Didn't like the new ending. I guess they didn't like he prefers the original darker ending. To whatever.
I find both endings to be little meh.
Yeah, I mean, but how are you going to end it?
Oh, and the little kid also before.
What is that?
Yeah. So the little kid who Dagonet was protecting the whole time,
right? Okay.
Who now has his ring as the necklace.
Okay.
Goes over to his grave and tries to pull like a fit and tries to pull his sword out of the mound, just like Arthur did when he was a kid and tried to save his mother. So this kid's trying to pull the sword out, but he's too small, and Arthur goes, "No. One day you'll come back for it. One day when you're ready."
Yeah.
And then he looks up to the sky, and that's kind of how.
Then he's like, "I'll do it."
Yeah.
If there's nothing I know about pulling swords out of things, man.
I was waiting for him to name the kid Mordred and be like, "Ooh."
I like the fact that they showed the other graves, and they were all smoking. Like they had the little, if you notice in the background when they were burying the two bodies, they're burning them. That they obviously the other graves have little. It was almost like a little pipe thing, and they must have burned them all. But then covered them in dirt, but they keep the thing, and you just see the smoke rising out. I thought I liked that little
touch to it.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I like this movie.
Would you have liked it more if they cut out some of the things that they had cut out, or changed some of the dialogue and stuff like that?
See, because
you saw the list on IMDb.
Yeah, I just think it needs a lot more. Like I know that I really think, like we talked about, like whenever your stuff needs to be addressed, it needs to be, she needs to be in it a little bit better than she is. I don't mind that you find her 45 minutes into the movie, but like you don't really
need something more substantial with it.
Yeah, and you don't really explain the woads too much. They're there. you don't really understand the battle between them. Like they beyond the wall. Like you don't really get that.
They oppose the Roman rule.
Okay, but I don't know.
You don't really get the sense that the roads are weak or that they're
sure
too strong or who Merlin is. I guess in that case, yeah. I mean, I get their deal, but yeah, I don't get who they really are in general.
We haven't even talked about the fact that Lancelot's the narrator. And he's dead.
He's a dead. Well, no, he's a horse now.
Yeah, what is that?
But yeah, I don't like that Lancelot's the narrator.
Yeah,
I get that it's like, oh, you threw me off the trail.
And he's in the beginning. He narrates the beginning, and then he disappears for at least an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes of the movie.
Well, he bookends it. Yeah.
I did not. I don't like narration. We've talked about that before.
I don't think narration is. The narration is only there to give you the history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if Lancelot did that history lesson, that'd be fine because he's not telling a story; he's just doing a history.
It's an
lesson.
exposition dump,
right? About who the Sarmatians are.
Yeah.
But then you get him as a kid, you get all that stuff. You're fine. Like you don't need anything else. He doesn't need to say. The only other reason he's doing that bookend is to say the thing about the horses. So you have that last shot.
Narration is often in movies put in after the fact, or put in because we need to explain it a little bit more. A focus group didn't understand something, so let's narrate it.
That's like talk all the time about the Blade Runner thing. Yeah, Harrison Ford hated it so much he did it bad on purpose, and everybody hated it.
I don't like narration. I've never been a fan of it. If you can't tell your story visually, I mean, you're in a visual medium. That's the whole purpose of the visual medium is to tell your story visually. If you can't do it, get out.
Right. Or at least do something clever in terms of your dialogue.
I don't mind like I love character thoughts. That's fine. I even love, oh man, I can't think of the movie, but I love when character thoughts when they're talking to you, but they're disrupted by the flow of the movie. So
it's like the one we just did.
What was, I'm trying to think.
The limo driver one.
Oh, Stretch. Yeah.
Stretch. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when he's just like, and then there's like, holy shit. Yeah. Like that stuff I like. Because that's more in tune with what's on screen. But straight up narration bugs the crap out of me.
And narration by a dead guy bugs you even.
Oh, that was when he died. I was like, because I forgot. And I know.
Oh, yeah. It's 2.5 hour movie.
And then he's dead. I'm like, and then he's died. And then he's dead. I'm like, oh. And then like 2 minutes later, I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't he narrating the story? And then like they show the horses. I'm like, now they're horses? And I love the fact that the horses are the one that tells them, like, no, we got to go fight. When they're walking away, and the horses like, no, bitches, let's go.
And the guy's like, oh shit, wait, if our horses are our horses are more badass than us.
My horse just called me out, dude. I can't sit here. Let's
I have
go.
to go do this.
Now let's take 20 minutes to actually gear up.
I really like the horse get-ups they have. I like all the horses have their own personality as well with their headdresses and stuff. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
The costuming in this movie is really good.
No, I mean, there's a lot of things I like about it. I think my biggest thing is just story development. And like I said, I know that whenever it needs to be in the story, her intro slowed the pace, I thought. And it was when it just kind of affected the storytelling overall. I thought there was, I don't know. I don't have an answer to what would be a better way to do it.
They spend too much time at the estate.
Yeah.
Because they go to the estate, they come back to the estate, and they're still at the estate, even though they've already been told Saxons are coming.
Yeah.
They kind of spread it into two sections. The freeing the elder and then going into the tomb. They could have been one section. They're already curious about the tomb as soon as they walk in there.
Mm-hmm.
He could have clearly smacked the elder down, turned and gone, all right, now what the hell is up with that? But they didn't. Instead, they make it last 20 minutes. I don't know about 20 minutes, 10 minutes long.
And they go to rescue this family because the Saxons are coming, but like they never show up and you don't really get the Saxons till the end. So it's almost like a separate movie to go get the people, come back, have this like crisis of conscience part of the movie, and then wait a minute, now I got to fight the Saxons.
Well, the Saxons show up.
Oh, they show up.
They free the priests again. They free the priests.
Right. No, I get you, but like they never fight them. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah,
that kind of thing. Then they do fight them on the lake, but that's just
they
really
get away
kinda,
real quick for like, hey, we got to go now, and then Arthur takes way too long to leave.
Let me put it this way: there's really no threat of them.
Arriving.
Yeah, I've really felt no threat of them, and like Dagonet's death is just. It's almost one of those deaths where characters are so willing to die. You know what I mean? Like when he runs like, and he's going to start chopping ice. You know that, okay, he's dying. Like that's the only reason he's doing that.
He kind of signals that he's going to die to begin with because A, he's the one that seems the most honorable and the one that seems the most what Arthur says will do.
Right.
And then he sees the little kid and he's like helping the little kid out. And you're just like, well, this movie, somebody's got to die.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that, okay, now let's pull on some heartstrings. You gave this, it's almost like when you have a dog in a movie, and you know that dog's going to die.
Of course.
You gave that guy a little kid, that guy's got to die.
Yeah. And they can get rid of the sex scene.
The sex scene is not really in the PG.
It's not in the theatrical cut. I know it's in the director's cut, but it's put later. But it's
interrupted.
Unneeded. It's not needed. It's not that, like, this isn't, I don't care. I don't need this.
That's the whole thing, is the romance is unearned.
This isn't Top Gun. I don't need it.
And right before they're doing it, like, she still kind of seems like she had feelings for Lancelot, which again is that love triangle thing that's just there for no reason and kept in. So that part is meh.
I would much rather have the love triangle between Lancelot and Arthur. I just would. It would be much more interesting than this.
It would fit within the Roman times.
That's fine. Absolutely. Go for it.
I also really love the music in this movie.
It's Hans Zimmer.
It's Hans Zimmer, but it's not overly drummy. It's very fantastic. It's very ethereal.
But I couldn't quite place it, but there were a lot of familiar notes in this.
It's got a lot of Lion King.
Maybe, yeah, but I was thinking maybe it's in a lot of trailers too.
It's probably been used again before or again after that for other fantasy things.
I definitely hear a lot, but no, I agree with you. It's really good. But yeah, so did you say you would recommend it to people? Is that what you said?
I didn't say that yet.
Would you recommend it to anybody?
Yeah. I like this movie quite a bit.
Do you think that people that are into the King Arthur legend would like this movie, or would they not like it?
I did. I've always really I don't like.
You're okay with the changes? Yeah,
I don't like fantasy things that much. The only fantasy, I mean, I like the Lord of the Rings movies. I don't like the Hobbit movies.
Nobody likes the Hobbit movies.
But I'm not really big into like Dungeons and Dragons type stories. Like, I'll play video games of them and stuff like that, but I'm not like, I'm more of a space kind of guy, like Star Wars, Star Trek. For some reason, I was always into King Arthur. Yeah. Ever since I was a little kid, I love the Sword in the Stone movie. I love all the King Arthur, King Arthur.
Who doesn't dream of becoming a king after being a pauper?
Right. And like a good king. Not like a crap king.
You'd like to think you'd become a good king, but we never know.
Well, yeah. And his Knights of the Round Table and all the ideas of King Arthur are really great. The story, and as you grow up and you read a little more at the Arthur, like I did, and the idea of like Mordred and uniting the kingdoms, and the Lady in the Lake gives him Excalibur, and it's all different swords, and like, wow, this is really cool and really fleshed out universe for something that was written hundreds and hundreds of years ago. This movie presents it like, here's possibly real life, and I think maybe you have to like history. Maybe you can't just like King Arthur, because if you only like fantasy tales, this is going to disappoint you, because it's not. It's like when people watch Game of Thrones and really want more dragons and magic, and they get a lot of more political intrigue and more historical type battles. It's like, no, it's War of the Roses. It's not Lord of the Rings. And
right.
People are like, ugh.
Yeah.
Where like, because that was the whole meme a long time ago, was like, Daenerys and her dragons. Where are the dragons? When are the dragons coming? Can we get to the dragons?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what it's about. And that this is not about that kind of fantasy stuff. This is about, let's take the tale of King Arthur, slap it on a historical drama, and see what happens. Mm-hmm. And I really like it for that. And it tells a time and period in history where you don't really see a lot. You get Rome at its height, like in Gladiator, or you get the Middle Ages. You don't really get this kind of in between Hadrian's Wall kind of look to history. Although there is now a German television show on Netflix that looks pretty good called Barbarians that I want to watch, that takes place during that.
Because you're going to watch that. Who are we kidding? You're not watching that.
I watched the trailer. Does that count?
Maybe if you had major back surgery or something, you had nothing else to do, you'll get to it, but you're not getting to it.
Kick me in the back. Let's go. Does that mean I don't have to go to work anymore?
Well, if you think we're not recording podcasts, you got nothing coming.
Sorry, I got plenty of time to watch the movies. But yeah, I think people that like historical dramas would like it. Maybe people like King Arthur, but like you said, you were put off by that.
It was tough for me to reconcile that fact that what I've read and seen and heard is completely different than this, and I didn't know if I could. I don't know if I bought in all the way. That's all. But I had to, like I said, I had to separate that and kind of go at it from the movie in and of itself. Why do you think it's forgotten?
I think I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again because we said it during Last Samurai. I think historical dramas like this that take place this long ago, and knights and stuff like that, that's just not what people are consuming now. I think people are consuming their blockbusters as...
Or 16 years ago.
Well, 16 years ago, this did well.
2004 overseas.
Yeah.
That's because it's a King Arthur tale, so it
Right.
did well in England.
I think that
This is before Iron Man. This is before superheroes. All
Right.
that nonsense. Not nonsense, but all those movies.
I think, well, in the States, I really feel like this is not a good July movie. Like we said,
Agreed.
it's cold. It's something about England when you really just want something that would be like America, rah, rah, rah kind of a movie. That's 4th of July in America. That's big budget.
Agreed.
You know, you want something like that, or you want a big American.
You want Men in
cast.
Black. You want like the big Will Smith movie that comes out every.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You want your big American guy up there, and you
Yeah.
don't get that in this. And I think that hurts it. I think that this came out in March. This came out in November. This would be a great Thanksgiving movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the big Thanksgiving tentpole, but instead it was summertime, and immediately that means it made no money. It wasn't very well reviewed, so I feel like then nobody felt like they needed to come back to it,
Sure.
and so that it just kind of got forgotten with the wayside. A week after this, Will Smith came out with a movie, and everybody was like, "Yeah, Will."
Were they like that?
I don't know, but I think that's probably why it was forgotten, and I don't think people are really that into big budget historical dramas, and they haven't been for quite some time, because this is also around a few years after Last Samurai as well. This is in the middle of Lord of the Rings, and I feel like people probably wanted that.
They wanted that.
Although I don't think, I would really like to see a King Arthur trilogy done in the style of like the Little Morte Arthur, the actual mythology, but instead we got Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, which was not good.
Well, I should say this too, also, because the July 2nd movies I gave you when we were first talking like what else came out aren't really the July 4th fare.
Mhm.
So, which leads me to believe that another big movie came out prior to that, which was probably the big July 4th movie. So I should have put this down there, and I apologize. So on June 30th, 2004, we had Spider-Man 2, Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
Oh, Raimi's Spider-Man 2? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there's So that not only did well initially, it's all I think we've talked about before. It's probably the best Spider-Man movie of all of them.
It's one of the best superhero movies.
Right. So it probably had a big time word of mouth in terms of, it's kind of, how well it did across it probably controlled July, and it probably affected all these movies that came after it, including King Arthur, which you're right. It's not a July 7th movie. It's getting cold September, October movie, or, January, February, we're in the winter. It's definitely the feeling of it should mimic the time of year.
You should go out and feel like you were you were there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
I think it's really cool that Antoine Fuqua got to do this. And I think we mentioned this. Like, he's the only black guy on the set directing a movie about a bunch of white guys. And I think that goes to show like how much Jerry Bruckheimer trusted him at that time, and how good of a director Antoine Fuqua
Well, he's
was.
talented.
Yeah. That back then, I hate to say like 2004, that normally wouldn't happen. And
Maybe
they did that, and he directed the crap out of this one. He did a really good job, and he directs action very, very well.
Fuqua definitely knows his action. He's definitely a big time action director. I almost want him. I'm gonna I didn't like it. The 4th Die Hard movie, Live Free or Die Hard. I mean, I don't. Who did that? That's the guy who did Underworld. Len Wiseman.
But yeah,
I don't mind Len Wiseman, and that's
he's okay. I don't like Die Hard 4, but
hang on. Live Free or Die Hard has decent moments. If you compare it to the next one, which is terrible. But Fuqua doing a Die Hard movie would absolutely be okay with me. I know Tears of the Sun. I know it was a Die Hard script. I get it. But Fuqua doing a Die Hard film, that kind of action movie, or a what's his face? Who did the first Die Hard? John McTiernan. Like
Olympus Has Fallen is also a Die Hard movie.
But see, Olympus
He's done it, man.
But here's the thing with Olympus Has Fallen is that it has a little bit too much digital for me. Like I want Fuqua. I want Fuqua doing like he did here, building Hadrian's Wall and maybe this type of movie can never be made again because CGI is so
it's prevalent.
Yeah, I get it.
No one wants to spend that money.
But I said this last time. I talked about this last time on I can't remember what we talked about. Might have been the episode that came out. Give Fuqua $20 million and go do an action movie that he can do all squibs and all that stuff. Like that's the Fuqua I like. I think he can do that, and I like him as an action director. But he's he's an action movie guy. But yeah, that's it. No, I like Fuqua. He's good. He's great.
No.
So, Mike, where can everybody find us?
You can find us, wherever you're listening to us right now. You can also find us at ForgottenCinemapod.com or at ForgottenEntertainment.com, because we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. You can also find us on the social medias at Forgotten Cinema Pod or Forgotten Cinema, depending on where you are. We post every day of the weekday, And we post on Thursdays awesome commercials that you should check out because they're really fun and we enjoy doing them.
And next week, we're going to be taking baby steps to the microphone, baby steps to the computer, baby steps to baby steps to the mixer, baby steps to the TV. Because that's right, we're doing What About Bob next week. The movie from 1991 with Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. If you know what I was referring to, you have seen the movie. If you have not, watch it.
Well done, sir. Well done.
All right. So that's next week. What About Bob? Till then, I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.